So when we talk about railways in India, railways is the backbone of the entire population in India. Why? Because on the daily basis more than 2 crore people travels via railway. So that's the backbone of the transportation sector. Apart from that, we have the transportation of various goods and services via railway. So that is another one dimension. But here in this article, our focus will be that over 2 crore population transports via railway on the daily basis. But when it comes to tackling the medical emergency in the railways at the time of transportation, we do not have the proper mechanism to provide the services. Okay, suppose there is a medical emergency in a railway coach. So what is the procedure and how the railway and their team will handle it? So it needs to have a proper implementation of the mechanism. So here in this article, we will be talking about the status of medical care on the Indian trains. Okay, so that is one thing, and that is also very important for your general awareness that you should know about this article. So let's start our discussion without delay. So first of all, when we talk about Indian Railway, so huge transportation of the people from one location to another location, and we have a data and you can use it. About 2.3 crore passengers on the daily basis gets transported, and it's a massive responsibility for the Indian Railway that they should ensure their health care, the medical services during emergency. Okay, so on the one side, there is a physical safety like the strength of the boggage and the physical quality of the boggage and the coach, but the health needs is also crucial. Like we have the train incident, and you may recall it, the Balasore train accident. Okay, so that is the scenario when there is an accident. So that is the field of accident safety. But during the normal traveling, let's say people face some sort of crisis, some terms of health issue, medical emergency. So how the railway is going to help, that is also very important. And when we talk about the scale of problem, specifically related to the medical emergency while transportation, so it's a very big scenario and it needs to be tackled upon. Like we have the data, 1076 medical emergency reported at Katpadi Junction in 2017, and out of that 25% was trauma related. Okay, and then rest of the percentage were having the fever or life threatening conditions, and nearly 10% of that medical emergency case required urgent intervention. So that means the need and the importance of medical emergency while in the transportation services is very very important, and it needs to be taken care of. So the question arises whether the railway is providing the services or not. So we need to have a understanding that what was the scenario of the past and how the railways evolved in providing the medical emergency services from time to time. So let's say we have the special first aid box system which was putted in the Indian Railway in 1995. Okay, and there was pilot project in which in every train there will be the medical team in the train, so that if there is a medical emergency, it should be provided by these teams. But it was like stopped in the further year because there was no such more case of the excessive medical emergency. Okay, so there was another initiative like discount for the doctors while traveling on the train, and if they helps the needy patients. Okay, and apart from that, at railway stations there were establishment of chemist stores and doctors in the selected stations. Okay, but it was also failed. And then there was a reservation concept of certain birth for medical care, but this concept were also discontinued. Okay, so series of experiments were done, but when it comes to the continuation of the services, it was stopped because the response and the cost to benefit analysis was not much more visible. Okay, then there comes the Supreme Court order and establishment of AIMS committee. So this committee's recommendations started to get implemented in the railways. So what is the Supreme Court order? Like in 2017, the Supreme Court directed the Indian Railway to set up a committee where experts from the AIMS New Delhi will be there, and they will recommend the measures to be adopted to deal with the medical emergency if in any case occurs in the Indian Railway. So the recommendation was come forwarded, and the recommendation slowly it started to get implemented. Like first of all, the contents of the first aid box were some of the important like medicines, the equipment, the measurement tools were put it, and the numbers was increased. Okay, and it was put it in all railway stations and in all passenger carrying trains. And then there was also mandated first aid training for the railway staff, because in the railway there are many staffs. Okay, so if they are trained, so in case of medical emergency they can help as well. And there is a review of service utilization every 3 years to check that whether the services we are providing for the medical healthcare is having the benefit on the user or not. Okay, but when we talk about the current status and discrepancies are there, like we have the 139 helpline number, but when you will be calling it, so the number either may not be reachable or it will be connected after many much more delay. Okay, and we have the Twitter campaign, like if a person is facing the problems in the railway, so there is a Twitter post and then the help comes. So this is positive step, but in the train many peoples do not have the Twitter account or the internet knowledge or the digital knowledge, so that person may not get the proper representation. Okay, and there was incident in December 2023 on the Bande Bharat Express that highlighted the inadequacy. And what was the incident? Like a person in the Bande Bharat Express was fell ill, and the case was related to heart attack. So a person who was like in the Bande Bharat, so they try to help these people and try to provide some emergency care. But in this Bande Bharat Express, the first aid box, the medicines and the tools, the devices which were necessary to be putted was not that much available, and the medication was also of the expiring nation. Okay, so the 1995 list of medicines and the devices were putted instead of the updated 2017 list. And this in this updated 2017 list there was more number of medications and the tools for the checkups which needed to be there as compared to the for 1995 list. For example, in the 2017 list there was like approx 80 plus of the tools will be there, and in 1995 there was like 40 plus medications and the like checking devices was there, so it was almost half. Okay, so there is a recommendations for the improvement, like we have to adopt the list of additional essential items that suggested 88 item list in the first aid box. Okay, and apart from that we can include portable ECG devices and rapid diagnostic kits, so that we can understand, we can diagnose the problem, and then we can have a emergency and impactful like solution. Okay, and Also, there is a need to capture data on healthcare, and when we talk about the need of the data, so it should be inserted in the policy making as well. Okay, so that is one thing. So when we talk about conclusion, Indian Railways and the passengers deserve very effective care during their journey, because the journey can be very long, and in this long journey there can be the medical emergency. So the railway have the important responsibility to cater the needs of the people, to cater the need of the citizen, and must prioritize preparedness for medical emergency. Okay, so that is the end of the article, friends. Hope you understood, and we will meet again for the next out of session. Thank you very much for the discussion.